Does every busy junction feel like an information overload? You get to the junction, there's cars coming from your right, there's cars coming from the left, you might have pedestrians trying to cross the road in front of you, you might have a bicycle next to you as well. Oh my God, there's just so much stuff to look at. If you find it very stressful, you're not alone. And in this video, I'm going to give you a step-by-step guide to help calm you down and show you exactly what matters and what doesn't. My name is Mustafa and I'm a driving instructor with over 10 years experience, and so I've pretty much seen it all. And make sure you stay to the very end of this video, because the full guide is what's going to give you a peaceful understanding in terms of what is needed on your driving lessons, and more importantly, what your examiner is expecting from you on your driving test to secure that all-important pass. So the first thing to keep in mind is that it is overwhelming, and it's worth acknowledging and accepting that this is a fact. Even the most experienced and good drivers can feel stressed and overwhelmed when coming to a busy junction, when there's vehicles coming from all directions and there's pedestrians trying to cross the road, and they're trying to work out what gear to select and trying to read the road signs and road markings as well. And so appreciating that the actual nature of the task is challenging should immediately put your mind at rest. So now, having understood that it is difficult, the next important thing to understand is that speed is the master key to the whole exercise. The slower you approach the junction, the more time you are going to give yourself to make the necessary observations to the right and to the left and across the road, and repeat those observations as many times as you need to build a decent picture as to what's happening in all directions, to be able to then make a safe decision. A common mistake learners tend to make when they're learning to drive is that they feel pressure to hurry up and get to the junction as quick as possible and look as quick as possible and make the decision as quick as possible. But the funny thing is, the earlier you slow down, all it means is that you might get to the junction 2 or maybe 3 seconds later, but those 2 or 3 seconds extra that it takes to get there is creating a world of extra time for you to be able to look more times and build that quality picture in terms of the speed and distance of all the other road users around you, to be able to then come to a decent conclusion as to when it's safe to go. The next important point to make is that when you come to a junction, you are allowed to stop. What does this mean? Many learners, when they come to a junction, they're trying to look and go at the same time. But the problem is, looking takes time. And sometimes, no matter how slow you're going, you still can't see. And that's not your fault. That's just the nature of what it is that you're trying to do. And in such situations, the only solution is to bring the car to a complete and utter stop, no movement. And it's in the act of stopping that the time is created for you to be able to make those observations and once again come to that safe conclusion in terms of when it's going to be safe to go or not. And here's the funny thing, if there is any doubt in your mind as to whether you should stop or whether you should go, what's the best action to take? The best action is to completely stop. It is much better that you come to a junction and you slow down, you observe both ways, but there's some doubt in your mind, and it's better that you stop the car, and then with hindsight, a couple of seconds later, you may well realize that actually I could have gone. That's fine. What's much worse is that you come to a junction, you slow down, you observe, and you're not quite sure, but you take the decision to go, and right after going, you realize, actually, in hindsight, I probably should have stopped there. That's much worse. So don't worry about stopping if it's unnecessary. Worry about going if it turns out to be the wrong decision, because that is much more dangerous and can have much larger consequences both in your driving test and more importantly after you pass as well. You might find yourself getting into bumps and bruises with other road users, which you definitely don't want. It's not bumper cars. The next important step to keep in mind is that when you come to a junction, if you can't see properly, you are allowed to peep and creep as many times as you need to be able to see. With some junctions, the visibility is bad, and after one creep forward, the visibility gets good enough to take a decision, in which case, what should you do? If it's clear, go. But with other junctions, after edging forward literally 4 times, you still can't see, in which case, what should you do? The answer is stop, look both ways again and opposite, and creep forward for a fifth time and look again. And ad infinitum, keep doing that until you can actually see. And it may well be that people around you, more experienced drivers, may have needed to creep forward and look everywhere less times than you did, but in time to come, you will get better. And what the funny thing is that even the most experienced drivers at some junctions where you literally just cannot see may need to edge forward 7 or 8 times, depending how bad the visibility actually is on some junctions. So be kind to yourself, breathe, slow it down, and give yourself time to make the necessary observations. The next important point that I can't emphasize enough: missing a gap is okay. Many little drivers feel so nervous about missing a gap on a driving test that they end up taking a gap which is not there, causing another road user to have to stop, slow down, or change direction as a consequence of them pulling out. What's the solution? The solution is to accept from the outset when you come to a junction that you may well miss an opportunity to go. You might even miss 2 chances to go. And no matter how many chances that you perceive yourself to have missed, you then do need to still wait for the next one. What's gone is gone. You need to wait for the next one. And in time to come, your own judgment and observations in terms of judging when the gap to go will get better. But while you're trying to get that understanding, you don't want to be taking any unnecessary chances. And on your driving test, there's the added factor that not only do you need to make sure it's safe to go, your examiner needs to feel comfortable with your process as well. So definitely take your time. And the next important thing to understand, which many learners don't understand, is that what happens right after you pull out from the junction is almost as important as the observations at the junction itself. Why? Let's say, for example, you've looked around really well, crept forward as times as you need to, missed the odd chance because you weren't sure, all good, and then you finally found a gap that you and your examiner were happy with, and you pulled out in front of a car that was coming from quite far away. But then you took too long to build your speed up on the new road. In the act of taking too long to accelerate up to the speed on the new road, you may well still cause the vehicle coming to have to slow down to accommodate you, which could still lead to a driving test fail. So what's the solution? The solution is to keep in mind that once you've come out onto a new road, whether you're turning left or turning right, after you've taken good looks, to be aware of what's happening behind you and around you, so you're able to use that to shape your decision-making process in terms of how important it is to build up your speed and how quickly you need to build up your speed to blend in with the traffic that you've just pulled out in front of. If there's nobody around, you could be a bit more leisurely in terms of how you pick up your speed. But if you pull out in front of somebody at a busy junction, make sure you get that car moving quickly and safely, so you're blending in and not causing anyone to have to do those all-important things of stopping, slowing down, or changing direction as a consequence of your driving. Observations at junctions has been the #1 reason that people have failed their driving test every year for the last probably 8, 9, 10 years. And that's not going to change anytime soon. And not for you even just by watching this one video. But I hope this video has helped you to clear out your understanding. And the important thing to remember is that a lot of this is about practicing with your instructor with these things in mind. So you get used to building as part of your muscle memory and your neurological conditioning. So when you do come to a junction, you don't freeze. You are used to carrying out the necessary steps, step by step, slowly and calmly. And if you found this video helpful and you already have your driving test booked, the next video I recommend you to watch is what the examiners really expect from you on the driving test. That will give you a clean understanding as to what's going to happen on your driving test from the moment your driving instructor picks you up in the morning of your test all the way until the drive home, and give you a calm and peaceful understanding and hopefully help you perform better and pass that driving test. Thanks for watching, and if you're new around here, hit subscribe, because every week I upload more driving test tips to help you pass. Thanks for watching, and God bless.